Let's talk about setting accurate goals when your business has some seasonality to it. Maybe you're down in summer, or maybe December is not a great time. And what happens is you've got, a goal of $1 million, you divide it by 12, but then yet you forget summer's not great, or you've got a low season at some point. So I want to talk about how to accurately set goals with a business that is not consistent, which is a lot of our businesses, right? There are ups and downs. And this question actually came up at our Well-Oiled Live deep dive in-person event that we did recently here in Milwaukee. And I just didn't get to answer it, but it was such a good question and a big common problem I see with small businesses. Okay. So again, the problem is we want $1 million business. So we think easy, I'm just going to take $1 million divided by 12. That's about $83,000 a month. However, we forget that maybe summer cuts in half, right? So even if we hit $83,000 a month all the way till May, and then June, July, August, not so much, right? What might actually be the case is you have to aim for $100K a month, knowing June, July, and August is going to go down. Okay. So we underestimate what we really need. And that's why a lot of people miss this. Now, both of my businesses, I always say I'm a school year business. I thrive in September through May. And then June dips, and then July gets a little bit better, and then August gets a little bit better, and then we are back in September. And that is both businesses. It's crazy how similar they are, mostly because I do work with a lot of moms. So it's not that crazy that's what's happening. So I want to share with you how I still can set accurate goals, knowing my numbers are going to dip. So step number one is use data to direct you. Go back in time and track patterns on a monthly basis, right? Look at December for the last 3 years. Look at July for the last 3 years, right? What do you notice? What has been trending? Has it been trending up? Are there ups and downs? Is there any similarity? So for me, it's funny how in Well-Oiled, June is the lowest month of summer, and then it goes up. So I know when I go into June, if June's revenue is X, I know that July is most likely going to be bigger. That data helps me predict. If you're going, there are no patterns, there are no themes. June is here, July went down, August went up. The year before, June was the biggest, July, right? So you want to start to look and see if there's any predictions you could be making. Okay. Step number 2 is have a conservative goal and then a big stretch goal. Okay. I like to see and understand both sets of numbers. So basically, this is what we did last year, right? If we keep doing what we did already, and I always say that's conservative because I'm always trying to outdo myself. So if I look at last year's numbers, my conservative number is what if we stayed the same, right? Then last year we did a good, better, and best goal. So the good goal for us was 4 million. It was, we're on track. If we just keep pacing the way we're pacing, we should easily hit 4 million in annual revenue. Okay. We already crossed that. So it was 4 million was good. Better was 5 million. Best was 6 million. Okay. So we crossed the $4 million mark. We are on track for at least the 5 million. I'm recording this in early November, so I still have 2 full months to have that goal go up. We know now, as I'm recording this, that we're going to do minimum 5 million. So we're already on the better goal. Now, obviously, there's a lot that can happen in 2 months. So it's possible we do hit that best goal, right? Now, I'm thinking we'll probably land somewhere between the 5 and 6 million mark. Okay. So again, having these good, better, best, I think it helps you not have this crazy big goal that's not realistic, right? And we were able to celebrate. So at the $4 million mark, the team was already get going crazy and being excited that we already hit our first goal, right? So as you start to climb that ladder, the team feels the momentum. Step number 3, this was a big one that we did this year. So we set goals according to the busy times of year and then slower times of year. So we don't even it out and say X divided by 12, right? So we teach something inside of Well-Oiled Operations Mastery called critical number. It is this one number we track heavily in our business, okay? So last year, our goal was to sell 300 of our critical number. So what I did was I had data from September through December of the prior year of what I sold of our critical number. Now, the reason I didn't take the data pre-September was because we had a new funnel that had taken off and that we could see was going to keep scaling. So my data became irrelevant pre that specific funnel. Okay. So I only took September through December, but that's not that great because I'm missing a lot of history. I don't know, is January through May going to be just as good? Is summer going to be awful? Is it going to be non-existent, right? So I took the data that I had and I knew that historically January through May for us was still pretty good. So what I did, and this is like the big part here I want you to listen to. What I did was I actually said, okay, if I want 300 units, instead of saying 300 divided by 12, I need 25, right? I knew that summer might not be great. So what I said was, what if we kind of divide up the year from January through May and then September through December? So instead of saying, let's do 25 units, and here's the deal, I would have been on track for the 25 and I would have been like, oh my goodness, we're going to do it. And then June would have came and I would have been like, bam, right? So this is what I'm talking about of like having numbers based off of the month. So what I said with the 300 that I wanted, I said, what if I go for 150 by June 1st? And then September through December, I'm going to shoot for the other 150. Now I was so conservative and said, what if we get nothing in summer? I was like, perfect. Let's just go for it. Let's just do it and see if we can hit it. Not even trying to worry about summer. Okay. And then if we did sell in summer, it would be icing on the cake. Now, if you notice, my months aren't split evenly, right? January, February, March, April, May is 5 months. September, October, November, December is 4 months. However, my first deadline was June 1st, which meant anything I got in June, July, and August would go towards the second half of the year. So it actually does balance out pretty well for me specifically. So here's what's really, really cool. We hit the 150 units sold goal by June 1st. In fact, I believe we crushed that goal. Okay. So with that said, over summer, our numbers actually did go down like predicted, but not a ton. We still had a pretty phenomenal summer. We doubled our summer revenue from the year prior. So we were very, very happy about that. And our profit tripled, which was pretty exciting. Okay. With that said, because I was counting, right, the units sold to be by June 1st. And then I was like, okay, September through December, we're going to hit this. What was so cool was we hit 76 units over summer. Now, that's half of the second goal, right? So you can see we just keep crushing and crushing our goals. But I think it's because we are realistic about the seasonality and what we need to do. And we're not doing bad math, just dividing by 12 and then realizing that actually isn't going to help us, right? So with that said, we came into September feeling phenomenal because we had already passed the 150 for June 1st. We weren't counting on any critical number over summer, and we just got 76 of them, right? So that momentum keeps going. Now, we were way off in a good way, but still being off is not ideal. We want to be accurate. We want to be able to predict as close as possible. So now here's what's amazing is as I am, it's December of 2023, we're starting to plan 2024 out. Instead of saying 0 critical number for summer, that would be silly. We now have data, right? We had 76. I now get to decide, is 76 the number, or do I want to stretch myself, right? Well, I'll tell you, unfortunately, I had a few mistakes of some errors in the funnel that I found after summer. And that 76, I believe, could have been a lot higher. So for next summer, I've actually decided I want that critical number to be 100 over those 3 months in summer, right? Now, that's not even 10 more per month. So to me, that feels super doable. And it probably feels even a little conservative, okay? So I'll probably be using that when I have my good, better, best goal of knowing that'll be more of the conservative number, okay? I also have the data that June is not a month that I want to push as maybe hard as July or August, right? It got better as we got closer to the school year coming back in session. So these are things where I'm not going to say, okay, 100 divided by 3, right? I might say, okay, we're looking for 30, right, in June, maybe 40 in July. And then I know my math isn't making 100, but you get what I'm saying, right? I would start to work the math and figure out what makes sense. The math I'm just doing right there, the 30, the 40, the 50, I might go, you know what? I can do more than 100, right? The 30, 40, 50 actually feels doable. Let's change that number, right? So all of a sudden, when I start to do the math based off of previous data, that's when I start to get more accurate with my numbers. Okay. Now, I want you to know it is really normal to have ups and downs throughout the year, but it shouldn't feel unpredictable. You should be able to spell out what is about to happen. So there are trends, right? I just was working with one of my powerhouse clients, and she said, I've been in business 16 years. November, December is always tight, yet it catches me by surprise every year. And I said to her, this is the last time we're going to be surprised. You have the data, you have the facts, right? We know what we can start to do and how we can start to plan for those down times, right? So if I know summer is a little lower, okay, if summer's revenue is lower, I want summer's expenses to be lower. So what can I do to make sure that I'm not going on a shopping spree in June, July, and August, right? What can I do to make sure that maybe I even start to spend a little less in April and May, so I start to build up a cash reserve? Maybe I even start to create a bank account for summer savings, where starting in January, when money is, let's say, good, right? Or maybe for me, money's good September through June or September through May. So if September might be a catch-up month, I might decide October through May, I'm putting X amount away in a savings account for cash reserves for summer. Okay. So for us, even though I was saying things like summer's a little down, we still were profitable. Okay. Our summer overall, I think, was like 39% profit margin. You can still have good numbers even when they're down, as long as your expenses, you're prepared for it, right? As long as you have the savings, the cash reserve to get you through it. Okay. It doesn't have to be unpredictable. It doesn't have to be a surprise anymore. We're going to use the data to direct you. So I hope that this episode is going to get you to craft way more accurate goals for 2024, goals that actually mean something, that give you security, that you know are doable, that are doable, but that have a stretch, right? So I encourage you to come up with your good, better, best goal. And do me the biggest favor. If you can shout out on social media, tag me at Stacy Tuschl with today's episode. I would love to help as many small business owners set the tone for 2024 and get this accurate. This is one of the biggest problems I see. Our well-oiled framework is three parts, right? The plan, the people, the process. It starts with the plan. If you mess up the plan, getting the people to understand the plan, getting the processes for that plan, it all falls apart. So today's episode is truly foundational for you having the success you're looking for in 2024.